Hi, Travis with Splunk here. Want to continue that series of videos around IT Essentials Work and IT Service Intelligence and getting the knowledge objects and getting everything set up to make it more useful. Now, if you haven't seen the previous videos, let me recap. I have videos out there to show you how to get the metrics data in, how to install IT Essentials Work, how to search the metrics data. Then I apply a license and get that upgraded to IT Service Intelligence. I create an entity type, a new entity type for Meraki sensor air quality data that I'm wanting to collect. And then for that entity type, I create discovery searches and finally vital metrics. So if you haven't seen all of that, please go check out those videos. I don't want to have to try to recap it all in 5 minutes and extend this video out longer. But here I do have that Meraki sensor entity type that I created in the last video. If I click on it, only thing I am seeing right now is the vital metrics that I had created. I haven't added any more since that video. And I know the current battery percentage is still, depending on when I look at this data, is when it will show up, because that data is only collected twice a day, while the rest of it is collected more often. And these searches, this is only looking past 60 minutes. But from here, what is nice, if I can click on an entity and pass that entity name over to another dashboard to give me more information, because I only have 4, vital metrics, because you don't want too many of them up there, get crowded. But you can actually, and let me come back to the entity overview and click on K8's pod. This is another one that I've created myself to, learn and get better at my craft. If you use the Unix Linux add-on Windows content pack or any of the other content packs that are built by Splunk, we already have a lot of this done for you. But I'm going to show you the K8's pod. This is one that I built, and I've actually went in and modified it for this video to show you what you can do. So here I have entity names for the pods that I'm collecting. If I click on the pod from, second from the top, I'm going to pass that name, which is K8's pod.name, the K8's.pod.name. I'm going to go in and show you this dashboard and edit the dashboard so you can see, behind the curtain. But here it is pulling up this dashboard. And I did modify this before the video so that it doesn't work like I had intended. And I left my token, because I am passing a token from the entity overview entity type to this dashboard. And here you can see, I believe the token is $pod1. So I am putting that here to see that the token is being passed. And then on this first one here for CPU utilization, I removed that token out of the base search to show you that if you do create these dashboards or link one in the entity type and don't specify the token for the base searches for each one of these panels, it will use the data that's there. And here is one where I am using the token to modify the base search, but I also put in by K8's.pod.name, which I'll show you here in a second. And then this is the way I actually had it set up, to where I would just see the average or whatever. If I would have done max, whatever aggregation I would have done. But let me jump over to, because I'm going to fix this now. And this is the actual dashboard. I went to my search and reporting app, went to dashboards and found it that way, and then modified it, saved it so that I can show you this. You can see right here, the pod 1 is not working because this dashboard is expecting an input because of the tokens. And there's no, I don't have another input up top here where I could have done that. And yeah, if you wanted to use this dashboard for other means, you probably could have put another filter box up here, or whatever, another input box, but I didn't. I could clone this and do it that way. You decide what you want to do. I'll just give you, a starting point. But here, what I've done, if I edit this search, is I have that by K8's pod name, and then I put the by Kate's pod name down here for the time chart. I did not create these searches. What I used is the search and reporting analytic app, Analytic Workspace, which I do cover in another video. And I'm going to do it again here for the Meraki sensor data. But let me hit cancel here. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to fix what I have here. And this is where I have that token, and I put the field name and value. So the value is going to be the token. I'm going to delete this one here because I don't need it. And yeah, I'm going to delete it here as well by k8s.pod.name. I'm going to hit apply. Then I'm going to come up here and modify this search. Include that. And then delete this. So if you do need to make changes, I mean, this is how simple it can be. I'm going to hit save. Now, this is a simple XML dashboard. I find for this, it seemed to be a little bit easier, but for the Meraki sensor, I will create a Dashboard Studio one just to see the difference and what we'll have to do. I know you didn't get to see me create this one. Maybe, yeah, if I get time or if I think about it, I'll try to create a classic one as well to show how much easier it was. Maybe I'll create the Dashboard Studio one first and then create a classic. And then you can decide from there. So I've hit save. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I'm going to go back to my entity overview. I'm going to click on K8's pod, entity type, and then I will click on another. Oh no. I will click on another one here, Pac-Man. And now we should be passing that information over. And all the panels should be just for this one entity type, which I put that here. And as you can see, it does work just fine now. So now let's go back to entity overview. And before I go any further, I want to go into the documentation and show you, and I'll have links to this document down below and probably a couple other links to other useful things. But here you will see the documentation that I've been following, where I created an entity type, add the vital metrics. I didn't do the navigation yet. That'll be another video. But here is where I'm going to add a Splunk dashboard for my entity type. And it gives you a lot of good information, which you can do in here, and even talking about how you have to use a unique token string. So with that, let's come back over here. Let me go into Meraki sensor. I think I did click on this earlier, but no, I did not click on this. So let me show you that I don't have anything in place right now. And there's nothing here for that, like no dashboards created yet. So now I'm going to go to configuration, entity management. And I want to go to entity types, find the entity type that I want to add my dashboard to, which is Meraki sensor, and click edit. In here is where I would link that dashboard. Wait, I haven't created a dashboard yet. How can I link a dashboard? I mean, you can try to select dashboard, but there's nothing here yet. Let's go create that dashboard. I'm going to open up, and there's multiple ways you can create this dashboard. If you're comfortable going out there and doing the MStats and building it all out yourself, please, by all means, go do that. If you've already got a dashboard that you've set up and you want to use it, you'll use that as well. I'm going to show you one way, not the only way, to do this. So I'm going to go to the search and reporting app. Here, I'm going to go to Analytics Workspace, and I'm going to add a new filter because I only want to see my dimensions and my metrics that are for the Meraki sensor. I've actually caught it, and I'm kind of happy I caught it like this. Here, I don't see the index that I want. Let me hit cancel, and that's because this section here for the menu is looking at the last 15 minutes. So if I adjust this to 1 hour and click on add new new filter, almost said field, you can see that Meraki metrics is there. So I'm going to go ahead and click apply, and now it's going to show me all of the Actually, there is one missing, but it's going to show me the metric names or the metrics that are related to that index or are in that index. And why I say there's one missing, it's that battery information. So if I set this to last 6 hours, I should see it there. So maybe I only get it every 6 hours. I don't even. I'd have to go back and look how often, because I'm reliant on Meraki Cloud and the device, and how often Meraki Cloud is pulling that battery information from the device itself, and then I actually reach out to Meraki Cloud every 5 minutes in an API call. And I haven't done a video on that API call. Maybe further down the road I will create that, or if I get bored one day. But here are some of the metrics that I do or I have available that I do want to use. I'll say battery percentage, humidity, quality score. And every time I click on one, it pushes the one that's over here down. You can later on grab them and move them around. Once I put it in a dashboard, I'll be able to even do more customization there. But I'm going to add all 7 of these fields or values, metric names over. I'm going to call it all kinds of things in this video. So make sure that everything is done, has finished loading. And once it's all loaded, we can come up here, click on the global actions. Now I could, if I really wanted it to be split by, I'm going to use the serial number, which is, I kind of go back to 2 videos ago where I created the entity type in the discovery search, and I did not, use the serial. I probably should have used that as an alias or something, but I didn't. But I do have the entity name that has the serial number for me. What I'm going to do, global actions, and then I'm going to save this for now. I will save this as a dashboard studio. I actually was trying to figure a couple other things out I was having problems with. I had a spelling problem that caused me all kinds of issues. So I actually recorded this video once already and then decided to re-record it all. So Meraki sensor info, and I'm going to put a little DS so I know this is Dashboard Studio. I'm going to leave this on, oh, you know what? I'm going to do a grid, and then I'm going to share this in the app. Now, what I will have to do is make sure this is shared globally, since I'm not building this in ITSI. Or if you're using ITEW, IT Works, you want to share it. If you're using it in another app, you make sure you share it globally, because if you don't, other apps may not see it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit save, and you can't do that permission edit here. We'll actually have to go edit the, find it in dashboards and edit it there. I'll show you here in a second. But here is the dashboard. One of the things I'm not really fond of with the Dashboard Studio, that it doesn't, even this is a line chart, it doesn't actually connect the points together. I don't know if it's because of tried last 24 hours, see if that changes. Probably won't. Yeah, it just gives you a bunch of little bitty dots and where it's going. So I'm going to change that. And then I'm actually going to modify the battery percentage. I want to set that to the last 24 hours, because this data here, was it the concentration in Fahrenheit, comes in every, 15 minutes? Pretty close to every 15 minutes. This was at 6:33, and then this is at 6:53, so 20 minutes. That's why I can catch this within the last 15 minutes and not get any data. Let's go ahead and click edit. One thing that will happen when you do create this in Dashboard Studio, each one of these searches, they don't have a name. It's unnamed for the actual search themselves. So when I click on this search, I have to put a name in it now. So give it something like TVOC. I could put info or whatever, but you know what? I'm just going to say, well, yeah, that's what I'll do. TVOC info. And then in here is where I'm going to need the token name that I want to pass over. In a field I want to use, I know the data has serial. I'm going to say serial equals, wrap it in quotes, wrap it in not at, but there's that dollar sign. There it is for serial. Make sure I spell it correctly this time. I didn't earlier. So then I just, yeah. And not only did I misspell it, and then I copied it from here for everywhere else, but another thing I learned is the span. So here in the mstats command, I can use auto. However, time chart will not use it. So I did do a little bit of a testing, and I need to see if there is a advantage, disadvantage of using auto. I haven't really looked into that as much. If you know, put it in the comments. Let me know if there is an advantage or disadvantage, and if you're a fellow colleague and whatnot, definitely let me know. But here, this search is ready. I'm actually going to, I did last time, copy this. I'm going to copy all of this right here. I'm going to say apply and close. Now, if you notice, the search is not rendering because the token. It's looking for a token. I haven't given it a token yet, and we will do that once I get done editing the rest of this dashboard, which should not take me too long. So data source, let's say temp, just say info, and I'm going to copy over this piece here, and I'm going to get rid of this piece. Now I could, rebuild this search, and what I'm going to do is do that for the battery percentage one. I'm going to leave I'm going to leave the other ones the way they were. And if the 10 seconds work, I wouldn't have had to change this either. But I wasn't sure if you would want to change it from 60 minutes to 4 hours. And if you leave it at 10 seconds and you start doing 24 hours, it can get a little messy. So that's where I put it on auto here. I believe one of the differences with the classic XML, it actually has a auto that it puts in there when you save it. I'll make sure now I said that to create a classic simple XML one so we can see the difference together. I even misspelled this. You hit apply and close. Let me stop talking about things here and quickly go through temp, house, info. I know this is probably boring just watching me doing work, but sometimes seeing, we have to do it 7 times, but sometimes seeing it do, a couple times help you. Well, I've always told people I'm on the fire department. I've been a volunteer fireman for a very long time. But I said repetition is great. So here, let me go this. Let me delete this. Then I am going for the quality score. Say, not description. Got ahead of myself there. Let's see, error, quality underscore, quality underscore info. We do span. I will that close. I know there's a lot of them. Sorry. And if you did hear a second ago, I mean, kids are out of school. I'm recording this in the afternoon. I forgot to put the name there. It does, once I click that modify the search, I have to give it a name. It can't be unnamed. I should have clicked on I call them the pancakes, look like little hard drives. See what it looks like there and see if it causes any problems. This one's humidity underscore info, apply and close. And then battery percentage. This is the one I was having trouble with. I'm actually going to move it. Move it up. Keep going up top here. What if that green is going to add it in there? Oh, I see what it's doing. Oh, that's kind of nice. So when you are doing the grid, if you want, I mean, you can put it somewhere and then have to readjust it, or you know, you can, right now, I can put it side by side. Kind of like doing a simple XML when I'm moving the things around, except this does give you a green little box to let you know where it's going to go. But for battery percentage, I'm going to change this one quite a bit. So first, I'm going to give it a name here. Bat first info. I'm going to get rid of and show you that you can do this without that time chart. And then I'm going to say span auto. And I've got it copied to, oh no, all I have to do is get rid of this pre-stats. I got to remember the pre-stats. Can't think right now what it is, doing there equals Meraki underscore metrics is where the data is. And then I want that serial in there. And it's funny because I have the auto in there. And I'm going to leave that one alone, except for the time range. I don't want it to be input. I'm going to put it static and I'm going to leave it at last 24 hours. So I'm going to hit apply and it's still broken. It's where I need it to be right now. What I will also do is I'm going to edit this one here. And in the title, I will put for, and I'm going to get rid of this here, and I'll put in there for serial, and it should put that queue number in there. Let me hit save. Wonder if what happens. Let me leave it light. I know it will work with light. I'll come back and switch it. You know what? Let's just make it dark. See if it actually does dark inside of ITSI. Well, yeah, let's not change too many things at once. Let me hit save. I'll come back and do that. Now, next thing I said I had to do is I will have to come here to dashboards and then edit that dashboard. I will have to edit the permissions and then make sure that all apps can see it. Because if I don't, I won't be able to find it from ITSI or ITEW, depending on what you're using right now. This is stuff that you can do both in ITEW, creating your own entity type, vital metrics, and everything. Get ITEW up to speed for that. But then later on, my plan is to go into more what can you do with ITSI. So here I've got it saved. I'm going to go back to my entity. I went to configuration, entity management, clicked on entity types. And now I'm going to edit that Meraki sensor. Edit. And then I'm going to go pick something underneath my desk. But I am going to go down to the Splunk dashboards here. And I'm going to find that dashboard. Let's type in the word Meraki. And I'm not finding it. We hit cancel. Me refresh here. I did save the permissions, right? Yes, search global. So it is set to global. Let me come back over here to entity management. And now let me click on edit. We go to Splunk dashboards. Let me see if I can find it now. There it is. All right, now since I have that saved there, I will forewarn you that if you just see it right here, you'll want to go, oh, I'll just click save here and be done. If you do that, it's going to try to save it. It says work in progress, updating the progress. It didn't actually do anything. It didn't save what you just did. I've done this I don't know how many times and then realize, oh, I did it wrong. And you can see right there, I did it wrong. Let me go back in here, find Meraki sensor info, where you need to go. And depending on the size of the screen, like right now, I'm trying to zoom in so it's easier for you to read what's on my screen. But since I'm doing that, I forget the add button is down here. Now I do want to enter that filter name or entity filter. I'm going to select the field that has my serial number in it, which I have the entity name as a serial number. I know this. You can see I did this earlier, so serial is sitting there. And now I'm going to click add. Now, if you're using, like if I go look at the pod or the node, my Kubernetes data, you'll say, hey, it's pod name and pod, I think it is, pod one is the token value I use. So now, and that's what I was setting here, is where's the data? What is my token? I am going to say save, and then I'm going to say save again. And then after it saves this time, and this, I did put it back to light. What I'll do is I'll make sure it populates, and then I'll go back and you can see right here, I've got one Splunk dashboard. So let's go back to just open another tab. Why not? But yeah, I'll go back and flip it to dark because I'm curious now. That's the only way I learn is, oh, what happens if I flip this on? What happens if I flip this on? So here I'm going to look at the Meraki sensor data. I have one entity in here. And yes, I am actually using another program to hide the serial number from y'all. It's not that I don't trust you, but I don't trust you. I don't know who you are, but I'm happy and glad that you're watching this, and I'm hoping this is helping you learn more about Splunk. But if I click on that entity name, now it should pull up that dashboard and everything should work if I've done everything correctly this time and not have any spelling errors. May take a second, and there we go. And even my battery percentage, and I did forget, I won't make you, I'll do one. I did forget to connect the lines. I've shown this in another video for Dashboard Studio Builder, but the data is there. And it is filtered down on that serial number because you can see I used the token there. I took that same uh, field value and pasted it into every one of these base searches. And I even have its average. Average may not be what I want. Well, I guess yeah, I guess that'll work. I can do minimum, I can do max. I'd have to go decide which way I want to go with that, but I'll leave it average for the, you can change it. And if you don't know, there is different aggregation values that you can use with MStats. And this one also does not have the pre-stats equals true, and it does not have the time chart. This one's just using my MStats with the span, and that span equals, and I have it set to auto, is what's giving me my time so I can do the time chart visualizations or the line charts. Now, okay, let me go over here to dashboards. Let's go into Meraki sensor. Let's click on it. Let's edit it. Let's change it to dark mode and see what happens. Now I'm curious. All right, successfully saved. I'll leave it up there. I'm going to close this out. Didn't probably need to close that out, but I'm going to start over again. Click on my, should play the Jeopardy. Here, Meraki sensor. Then once it gets pulled up here, let's see if the dark mode works. Because ITSI, not, I can't put ITSI in at this time into dark mode. So I was curious if it would actually display the dashboard in dark mode, which it does not. That's interesting. Was not aware of that. So that's a fun fact. And now if you do go to dashboards, when I do pull this up, when I viewed it, it's not going to work here because I don't have the token name. But how does it work with Classic? Is it as easy? I mean, right now for me, I would have to come in here, and since this one is not connecting those dots, which I would like, I can data display, hit connect, if I want max minimum, but I would have to hit every one of these, do connect, which doesn't, it doesn't take too long. That's how long it's going to take me to update them all. Come back through here and see it. I don't think I have to hit save after I do them all. I think it already has it saved, but I'm going to have to hit save here to save my work. So now that they're all connected, I wonder if I just refresh this, if it'll show them all connected. that quickly. And I believe I still have my Analytics Workspace up. I haven't changed that. Yeah, I'm going to have to, look at that. I probably will have to go back to Entity Overview and then click on Meraki Sensors because it wasn't bringing it up and see and show. I know it would be working fine now, but show that it did take those changes as far as connecting the lines. But, just refreshing that page didn't do it. So that's another little gotcha, I guess, to understand for later on when you are, going through and building these out and you're like, oh, I made a change, but it's not showing. Try refreshing. So there we go. Yep, it's showing it all there. And it's funny because since it's 15 minutes, I'm looking at 1 hour. Yeah, it doesn't show me the prior. Well, it's 20 minutes here, so it doesn't show me that entry there. It just shows me here. If I go over in here and say maybe show me the last 4 hours, maybe this would have been better to have it hard coded to 4 hours for the time range here. I'm going to leave it alone. I can always make those adjustments later. Classic XML. Let me close this out. Let me close some of this out so I'm not confusing myself. Even this one here. I have the dashboard here. I'll leave this one alone because I will have to come in here and make a change to it. I'm going to come up here. This is my search and reporting app. Now, hindsight 2020. What I probably should have done before I started building all this is create my own content pack or create my own app to store all this information. What I'll end up probably doing is building everything where I need to build it and then go move it into one app. So once I get further along, maybe I will do a video on taking all these different pieces that I'm building and put it in one app, because this is something I may probably going to use in another environment that I'm helping another team with. But I have that Analytics Workspace pulled up here. I have the same information and even the broken battery information down here. What I'm going to do is the same thing I did before, global actions, and now I'm going to say classic. We have new. I'm going to call it Meraki sensor info. This time I'm going to say classic. I'm going to share this in the app, and we're going to add an interactive time control that is checked. Well, I may have to watch a video and see if that was there for Dashboard Studio Builder, because with that, and I think it was, it should be there. But another thing it adds in classic is a time span, which it's already set to auto. Another thing that saves me some time, these lines are connected. So that's one difference I've noticed with classic simple XML dashboards and the Dashboard Studio Builder. I don't know if that's really a deal breaker for anyone, but the classic always has the line chart connected, while Dashboard Studio with the line chart does not. Now, battery percentage down here is broke still, but all I got to do now is go through and add. I want to move that battery percentage up top. Same thing as I did with the Dashboard Studio Builder. I can move it up top just like it. And now I'm going to have to go in and add that serial, which I think I still have it saved over on a notepad over here. Edit my search. You can even see here it's got a token for MStat span, but I also need this for my base search. That's all I'm going to add. Now I'll have to go through each one of these and change that. And what I'll do is I'm going to also, same thing I did for the battery percentage. I'm going to get rid of this time chart. I'm going to get rid of the pre-stats. I'm going to say index equals Meraki underscore metrics. That's where the data lives. And I'm going to say serial equals serial. I got a 1 here. That is a difference. I got to make sure I copied it from an old uh, WordPad. I actually called it that. A lot of times, if I'm going to be passing multiple tokens that may have the same number or the same information, I'll call it like serial, serial 1, serial 2. This helps me keep track of what's going on. Yeah, I would have tried to launch that and it would not have worked. I'm going to add that here, which that's interesting. I'm going to be, because it's going to have the auto there and it works. Huh. I guess that's a Dashboard Studio thing with the time chart and audio, not auto, not audio, auto not working. Let's go here. Let's add it here. Apply. Go here. Add it. Apply. So no matter what, I'm going to have to modify each panel either way. But I have to do less to this one to get the same result. But if I didn't try an absolute one for Dashboard Studio, try it, see if it works. But here I'm also going to put in a title of that serial. I'll just leave it like that. And then I'm going to put set for last 24 hours, which I know I haven't changed that yet. And I put 25, put 24. I probably could set it to 6. I'll leave it at 24. Go edit this search. And we are going to use time picker. And I'm going to say presets 24 apply. Now that should give us that information. Go ahead and click save. And now once I come back over to my entity management, I can say edit, edit. You know what? I'll just add this one in here. See if it already finds it. It's not. Let me refresh it. While it's refreshing, I think I might take a drink of water. So once it comes up here, the idea I'm going to do is show you that you can have multiple dashboards. I believe it's in the documentation where it says you can have multiple dashboards tied to an entity type. So here, let's go ahead and, select. There it is, classic. Let's add an entity. Oh, yeah. Anyway, let's add an entity filter. Same thing I'm going to do here, entity name, and I'm going to say serial. And now I almost did it. I almost clicked save over here. I just have such a habit of that. Can't hit save over there. I need to click add. And now I have it added there. So now I can say save. So with that, oh, you know what I didn't do? And it worked. Hopefully I didn't just prove myself as a liar. Huh. So this is in search. Oh, I shared it out via app. So maybe since I put it in app, ITSI was still able to see that. I will say that if you, maybe because I'm running as admin, if you don't see it in there, even after you refresh, make sure the permissions are set correctly. So now I'm going to click dismiss. Let's go and open up entity overview. Video is dragging out a lot longer than I expected, but hopefully you're getting a lot of good information with this. Here I'm going to see the one sensor that is sending me data, or I'm collecting data for. Once I click on it here, I should have the option to choose between the two different ones. Now it will pick the one that was on top, which would be the Meraki Sensor Info Dashboard Studio version. But there is a drop down now where I can click on Classic. Oh, it did not like my index is invalid. But now I need to go figure out what I've done over there wrong. But everything else is working. I've probably got a typo where I've done something wrong here with the mstats command. Oh, yeah, I know exactly what I did wrong. Let me go back over here. Let me edit. Yep. Where? So even people that's been using Splunk for a while make mistakes, but at least we know how to fix our mistakes, and that's the most important thing. Is when you make a mistake, knowing how to fix it. Now like I said, time span is set to auto here. That is one difference between is if I go and I'll show you. If I go in here to Meraki sensor, this was happening to me earlier. Now, should happen now. But if I actually edit this, I'll edit the TVOC and put in span equals auto, apply and close. It was giving me a message earlier that would not allow me to, like, or it wouldn't show that information for that one. So I'm going to close that out. I'm going to close this one out so I'm not being too confused. I am going to close this out. Then I am going to reopen entity overview in a new search. Let's hiccup there. Here we are going to look at our entities again. You're probably getting tired of seeing this. But here, Meraki sensor. And then click on that entity name. We will see if it did indeed break it, which I should get an error message for this one here. Error in a time chart. When a span is expressed using a sub-second unit. Yeah, it just doesn't like the auto. Yeah, the value for option span auto is invalid for the time chart command. It's telling you to use a different for the time chart command when it's being shown in Dashboard Studio. However, in Classic, I can show you that I didn't have that problem here. And because I forgot to put the where, I fixed that. Now I've got data over here. All right. So that is, we'll go fix my dashboard here while I'm thinking about it. Then I'm going to just, well, you know what? I'm going to leave both of them there. I don't really need to worry about it. But hopefully you found this helpful. There's that span auto that I changed. So I'm going to delete that. There's a lot of information I went over. Hopefully I haven't lost you all. You found this helpful. Please let the other people know, get the word out about YouTube stuff that I am doing here. If you have any requests, I am trying to come up with new ideas or just continue this section here. But as always, happy spelunking and see you on the next video.